Hi, Mike Matthews, physical therapist here with the PT411. Today we're going to be looking at balance and stability with walking as it relates to our hip flexors. When the subject of hip flexors come up, people usually think they're tight and I need to stretch them out. A lot of people don't think about strengthening them up, and not only do we need to strengthen them up, we got to get them moving quickly as well. Because the thing is with walking, it's not necessarily just continuously propelling yourself forward. It's more along the lines of getting that momentum going forward and maintaining that momentum. Because the main thing about walking, it's more along the lines of throwing yourself off balance and catching that balance again. So to look at my legs down here, it's not only about propelling myself forward and pushing myself forward with this leg. In fact, EMG studies, which are studies that looked at muscle activity, show that by the time this leg is starting to cross over this leg, my quads, my glutes, and my calf muscle are already past their peak performance, and the majority of the work is actually happening on this other side, on this hip flexor right here. So what that tells us is by the time this leg is crossing over this front leg right here, it's all about that hip flexor, and this is where that taking yourself off balance comes into play. It gets your momentum going forward so that you can fall onto that other leg. And strengthening these muscles is only half the battle. The other half of this is speed. If our walking speed is too slow, our momentum will not go forward enough, and now we have a lot of room for error to topple over sideways. And to explain this speed a little further, imagine you're riding on a bike. If you're not going fast enough, you're wobbling back and forth quite a bit. Now if you pick up that speed, not even a whole lot, just a little bit, and you start going forward and then you go to coast, you're going to maintain that balance. Your momentum's going forward and it's not going to get displaced laterally. So to jump into the exercises here, and get you laying on your back for this first one, and we're going to have to work on several of these exercises all in the same period here because we're working two different things, strength and speed. So first exercise we're going to work on laying on your back. Side we're working on, that knee is straight, the other side is bent. We're doing a simple leg raise here. And keep that knee locked out as straight as you can. Don't let it kind of bend as you come up. It's got to be completely straight there. And while that's straight, you're going to raise that leg up, probably about 45 degrees, and then taking it back down. You're only holding it up there for a second or two at a time before you take it back down. So we want to get a good feel for this one. We're going to rep it out about 10 times, going up and down before we relax off. Next exercise we're doing, jumping straight into working your iliopsoas muscle. So to isolate that muscle, we're going to be lifting the leg up and out to the side a little bit. And as we take it out to the side, we're letting our foot rotate out about 30 degrees. On this one, we're actually going to hold for 5 seconds at a time before we take it back down. So make sure that knee stays nice and straight. You're lifting it up, taking it out to the side some, with your toes pointed out some. 5 seconds and back down. We're going to work on that one 10 times. So after doing that one, we're going to go back to our straight leg raises, going straight up again. You're going to lift it up, hold that up there again, hold it as long as you can until it starts to shake. And this is where that initiation of movement, that speed comes in. So my leg is starting to shake a little bit here, starting to fatigue. So now I'm going to lower it and raise it up several times. I'd say about 5 or 10 times pretty quickly, and then relax down because it's going to be pretty fatigued by then. Let it rest a little bit, 30 seconds or a minute so. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into it just for sake of this video. You come back up, you're going to wait for it to start shaking and fatiguing again. It's not going to take quite as much time this time. Now you're going to do very rapid movements up at this upper part, 5 to 10 repetitions. And then you're going to set it back down, let it relax. So you're going to do all those exercises before you switch sides, and you're going to go through that entire cycle again. So there's one other thing we need to focus on with these hip flexors. When they're working, we need to ensure that our back relatively stays within our neutral positioning right there, in a neutral arched position. So to take a look at this, sitting down here, we got to make sure, like I said, that we're sitting arched so that there is Pull my shirt tight so you can see here, there's a little bit of arch in that spine right there. Just a little bit right there, not over excessively arching, but enough that it's neutral there. You know, maintain that as you lift one of your legs up. Now, if you're doing this correctly, your leg will not go up very high. What ends up happening is if your leg keeps going up, 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 it's because we're flexing at that back and compensating for that weak hip flexor that will not go for us in that position. So keep that back nice and arched there, and you're gonna raise up. You're gonna hold that for 5 seconds, work your way up to 10-second holds before you take that back down. If you're having a lot of difficulty keeping that back nice and arched back there and lifting up, if you just can't do that, you need to start from an elevated position. So act like I'm sitting right here, back needs to stay arched there, and you're raising up from this position. And now you have a little bit more range in that hip to try to get that there. As that gets easy, then you can work your way down to a position where your knees are a little more even with those hips, or even a position where your hips are slightly below the knees before you start lifting up there. So that's what we need to work on with our hip flexors. We've got to work on initiation, strength, and speed. We've got to get that center of mass displaced forward so that we can start getting that momentum going forward, and we got to get that speed up enough that we can maintain that momentum going forward to minimize our chances of falling sideways. Again, this is Mike Matthews, physical therapist with the PT 411. Thanks for joining me. Hey, thanks for tuning into this video. If you like what you saw, hit the like button. If you're not already there, head on over to YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button there so you can be notified when I come out with my next video. Also, if there's something you would like me to address in a future video, leave it in the comments section and I'll get to them when I can. Again, thanks for joining.